Hello, everybody. Welcome to this quick discussion about the election of last week. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit because, one, I was asked to do this, and two, because I'm hearing a lot of pundits on TV talking about how Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. And I want to explain to you a little bit today, just using the numbers that we know based on the Electoral College. I want to talk to you a little bit about why that is highly unlikely that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. And to do that, we're going to look at the Electoral College, we're going to look at the spread, and I'm going to show you, using just some really fast math, how that probably didn't happen. And I'm using my iPad here to cheat a little bit with regards to numbers, because anybody that knows me knows that I really suck at math. But we're going to try to do this together. Okay, did Hillary Clinton win the popular vote? Probably not. Now, let me show you how it's a very, very strong improbability that this happened. We're going to look at the Electoral College, and we're going to put Mr. Trump out here, and we're going to make an assumption that the state of Michigan goes for Donald Trump. I haven't seen anything yet that has officially awarded the state to him because it was such a close race. There were only 0.3 of a percentage point last I saw that was separating Donald Trump from Hillary Clinton in the state of Michigan. But I'm going to make the assumption that when it's 100% of the precincts are reported, they're doing their recounts and they're doing whatever they need to do to certify their results. And I'm going to make the assumption that when it's all said and done, Donald Trump will officially have won the state of Michigan. So that the total electoral votes that Donald Trump is going to receive is going to be 306 electoral votes. And that, again, is presuming that he won the state of Michigan. Likewise, for Secretary Clinton, with regard to the state of New Hampshire. New Hampshire is also right now too close to call, but we know that Secretary Clinton is leading in the state of New Hampshire by about the same margin, by about 0.3 of a percent in the state of New Hampshire with its 4 electoral votes. We're going to presume, for the sake of this argument, that Hillary Clinton does end up winning the state of New Hampshire, which would give her a final vote tally in the Electoral College of 232 electoral votes. So now what we want to do is we want to say, okay, what is the probability that Hillary Clinton with 232 electoral votes and Donald Trump with 306, what's the probability that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote? And again, I say this because we don't know yet, and we probably won't know for another month or two what the final results are. I would encourage everybody, come the new year in January, go to archives.gov, and they should have everything tabulated by then. The Electoral College will have voted, because they're going to do that next month in December, and formally elect Donald Trump President of the United States based on the Electoral College. And then all the states will have by then certified their results, and everything will be calculated and tabulated, and archives.gov will put it out there, and we'll know for sure what the final popular vote was. But here's why it's improbable that that's going to come out to be anything like Hillary Clinton winning the popular vote. So we have 306 electoral votes for Donald Trump. Right? Wrong. That's not what we have. If we're going to talk about the Electoral College and we're going to talk about the possibility of a final vote count coming out for a popular vote in favor of Mrs. Clinton, the first thing we got to do is we got to shed 100 electoral votes. Because as we know, the Electoral College is allocated based on population and based on statehood. So, for example, the state of Montana has 3 electoral votes. 2 of those are allocated simply because they have 2 senators. And then that 3rd electoral vote is based on population, based on a number of representatives from each state. California also receives 2 electoral votes, just by virtue of the fact that it's a state in the union. But they receive another 51 electoral votes in the Electoral College based on population. And this was the idea that our founders had to make sure that there's some equity in, winning a state and then also taking into account the various populations in a different state. This was their idea, very similar to the idea of having a bicameral Congress. But I don't want to get too far off course here. But what I do know is that we've got to get rid of 100 electoral votes because those have nothing to do with population. Those are only allocated based on statehood. We know that Donald Trump won 30 states, which means that he got 60 electoral votes just by virtue of the fact that he won a state, has nothing to do with population. So this number that we need to work with is not accurate. The accurate number is 232 246 electoral votes. These were the electoral votes that were given to Donald Trump based on population. So that's the number that we have to work with. We also have to do the same thing over here with Mrs. Clinton. Now, she's got 232 electoral votes. 3 of those came out of the District of Columbia, which, because they have no senators, was solely population. That's tabulated in this number here. But the number that we have to work with for Mrs. Clinton is 192 electoral votes, because those were based on population. She won 20 states, which gave her 40 electoral votes based on the fact that she won those states. We shed those off. That's the number that we need to work with. So here's what we're looking at. 438 total electoral votes that are going to be cast for these 2 candidates based on population. The other 100 were based on winning or losing a state. And I should probably take a moment here to thank my son Jack for letting me use his easel and for being so kind as to go through some of this math with me. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look just at winning votes. I don't want to look at losing votes right now because, again, for every vote that was cast to get Donald Trump up to 246 electoral votes, there were also losing votes that that Hillary Clinton would have received. She didn't get enough votes to get that electoral vote in the Electoral College, but she did receive popular vote. And the same thing can be said for Donald Trump. When Hillary Clinton wins these 192 electoral votes, there are votes that were allocated over here, but not enough to give a vote in the Electoral College, to gain an electorate. We understand that. So I don't want to look at the losing votes right now. I just want to look at the winning votes. We know that approximately 120 million people, and that's an approximate number. It may actually be a little low, but for the purpose of this argument, we're going to say 120 million Americans cast a ballot this year for the President of the United States. And we know that what they were really doing was casting a ballot for the elector from their district that is going to vote in December for their candidate. So 438 electoral votes available based on population means that 274,000 people are voting for one elector. That's how many people. That's how the math comes out. If we have 120 million votes cast, we have 438 electors that are available on population. 274 humanoids have to go to the ballot box and cast a ballot, and that's equal to one vote in the Electoral College, so one elector. And in looking at the winning margins here, and just seeing what a candidate needs in order to gain a vote in the Electoral College, that person would need 137,000 people voting for them to give them one elector in the Electoral College, or one electoral vote. And again, we'll talk about where the losing votes went later. But if 137,000 people vote for Donald Trump, that gives him one electoral vote. If we multiply that by 246 electoral votes, that means that for winning votes alone, Donald Trump got 33.7 million. 33.7 million winning votes went to Donald Trump for him to receive these 246 electoral votes. And again, we're not worried about where the losing votes went just yet. For Hillary Clinton, at 192 electoral votes, and presuming the same, that she needed 137,000 people in order to gain one electoral vote, that means that for winning votes, Mrs. Clinton would have gotten 29 million people voting for her. And that's where the numbers come out. So actually, I want to change. That's not right. I need to make a quick change here. And I told you I needed to cheat. So let me do this. She actually received 26.3 million people voting for her, not 29. And hopefully we'll get through this. 26.3 million. So what does this mean? This means that talking about winning votes alone, Donald Trump received 7.4 million more votes, winning votes, than Mrs. Clinton did. So here's the question. Did Hillary Clinton win the popular vote? Is it possible? Anything's possible. Probably not. Okay, now we're talking about a disparity in the Electoral College here of 56% to 44%. So she was bested in the Electoral College by 10%. We know that for winning votes, Donald Trump has 7.4 million more votes. Now, the question is, where did the losing votes go, right? I mean, for every winning vote he got, he also got some losing votes here where he didn't garner enough support to get these electoral votes, but he got some. And the same can be said for Hillary Clinton, that she got some of these votes that she didn't get the electoral on, but she got popular vote on. We have a 7.4 million vote disparity right now, just talking about winning votes. So for Mrs. Clinton to win the popular vote, she's got to make up this 7.4 million, which represents 10%, plus more losing votes than Donald Trump got. So if we want to say that she got more of those losing votes, okay, did she get 7.4 million more than Donald Trump? Sure, anything is possible. In the District of Columbia, where, she's probably winning, 92% of the popular vote versus his 8%, that would quickly start eating into the 7.4 million. But similarly, in some of the rural areas where Donald Trump won by 80% of the popular vote in some of these counties, we know that would offset any kind of major gains she's going to get here. The bottom line is this: if we just kind of use a little bit of logic, we know that in a popular vote in some of the urban areas, Clinton is going to do very, very well, and we know that Donald Trump is going to do very well in some of the more Republican-leaning rural areas. There's no denying that. But to say that we're going to make up 54 electoral votes, the ones that are based on population, and a 7.4 million vote disparity just on winning votes alone, very unlikely that Hillary Clinton can make up enough ground to get over that hump and really win the popular vote. Again, I don't want to say it's impossible, but when you have elections like in 2000 where George W. Bush, I believe he won 271 electoral votes, and I think there was a difference of 3 or 4 electoral votes separating him and Al Gore. Yeah, it's very, very likely, probable, that Al Gore won the popular vote but lost the Electoral College. But there's only 4 electors separating the 2 of them. In this situation, where we've got 54 electoral votes separating the 2 of them, and again, that's just based on the population ones. It's actually more than that, but we're going to throw those 100 out because of the senators. When we're talking about 54 electors based on population and how they were awarded, that is very, very, very unlikely that Hillary Clinton could have pulled out that kind of win in a popular vote, gotten over the hump on this 7.4 million, and then got enough of the losing votes to make up the number and get the popular vote. Very unlikely. So let's see what happens when the final vote tallies are counted. If you see people talking about Hillary Clinton win the popular vote or won the popular vote, I would take that with a grain of salt. We're not going to know until all the votes are counted and this election is certified at the various states. Thank you very much for taking some time to listen to me talk to you about the Electoral College and talk to you about why I don't think Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, just based on some logic. And I hope that you will join me again for another quick series. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Electoral College, why it's probably past its time, we don't need it anymore, and why we shouldn't go to a popular vote instead. I've got an idea in lieu of both that actually makes